Today, we're going to talk a little bit about drawing faces. Now, when you're drawing a face, it's very, very important that you put the features, or the things like the eyes, the nose, the mouth, the eyebrows, in the right spot on the face. If you don't put the features in the right spot, you end up with a picture that looks very silly. Now let's take a look at two pictures. Both of these drawings here have the exact same features. The eyes are the same, the nose shape is the same, the mouth is the same. But one of them looks really strange, while the other one looks more like a person. We're going to talk about why that is. When you draw people, you have to make sure that the eyes, the nose, the mouth go in very specific locations. Let's start by first looking at the shape of the head here. A lot of times I see students who draw faces in the shape of a circle. Let's start by talking about the shape of the face. A lot of times I see students who use the shape of a circle to draw a head first. The problem with that is that no one really has a circle-shaped head. So let's take a look at what the actual shape is. If I put this on top, you can see that the actual shape of the face is an oval. So we're actually just going to mark this here so we have it to help us put the rest of the features on the face. Now the next thing we want to look at is eye placement. So if I put a ruler here and I look about how far down the face the eyes are, right across the top of here, it's about halfway down this oval. So I'm just going to put a little line here. I might make this a little bit smaller. So eyes should be about halfway across the face or down the face. Let's take a look at where it is on our picture over here. On this one, if this is our whole face, the eyes are at the top of the head. Most of the times I see students draw the eyes way at the top, and that throws off the whole picture. It looks very strange from there on out. So when you're drawing your picture, try to make sure that you're finding the halfway point and putting the eyes down there. It's going to feel very strange at first, but the more you practice, the better it'll become and the more realistic it will look. Now the next thing we need to look at is nose placement. So the very bottom of the nose should be about halfway between the eyes and the chin. So let's bring our little ruler back here. If I move this down so the top of this ruler is about halfway down, then we see where the bottom of the nose should go. And one of the last things I want you to keep in mind as you're drawing is that the bottom of the lips should be about halfway between the nose and the chin here. So I'm going to draw a little line there so that we can keep that in mind. If you keep these different features, their location in mind as you're drawing, you're going to end up with a much better picture than what you started with, what we normally see here. Now using this picture, we can take a look at our better of the two drawings here and see if we followed those rules here. So the eyes should be about halfway down. If I look at the whole size of the face, about halfway is where the eyes are. The nose should be about halfway between the eyes and the chin. So here are the eyes, here's the chin, and then about halfway is where the bottom of that nose goes. Okay, so that followed through there. And the bottom of the lip should be about halfway between the bottom of the nose and the chin. And that's about where that falls. Now there's something else that you can see on this picture that we don't see here, and that's the ears. For the ears, you want them to start about where the eyes are, or at the top of the eyes, and come down to about where the bottom of the nose is. And if you notice, the ears aren't sticking out really far. They're kind of like these really long, flat ovals. If you make them sticking out very far, then it doesn't look very realistic. So what we're going to do is we're going to use what we learned to draw a brand new picture together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with a pencil with this. Usually I do a marker so you can see it better, but I want you to see how I draw the face shape here and what happens if we make a mistake. So we already talked about heads being more oval shaped than circular. So what I want you to do is draw a large circle, or not circle, but a large oval. And then if you make a mistake, don't be upset about it. We can fix that. So if I look at this, this is definitely more circle shaped than it is oval. If that happens to you, don't quit, don't get upset, just use it to help you fix your problem. So I see that these sides are a little bit too wide. It's more of a circle. So what I might want to do is look at it and say, to turn this into an oval, I would have to make it just a little bit skinnier right here and a little bit skinnier on this side too. Okay, so that's pretty good. And now that I see a good outline for it, I can erase the lines that I don't want. Now the next step is going to be to draw the eyes. Now remember, the eyes are halfway down the face, so I'm going to use this marker to help me find that spot. So I'm going to move this down, and this right here is where most students draw the eyes. That's way too high. If this were a pizza pie, then you wouldn't want to have this smaller half. You want to keep going until both halves are equal. So right about here is where I would put the eyes because both halves are equal. They're the same. I'm just going to draw two little semicircles or rainbow shapes right about the midway point. So right about here, I'm just going to draw two of these so it kind of looks like they're smiling here. And then I'm just going to draw some circles underneath like this. And I'm not going to get too much into detail with the different features. This lesson is more about where we put the features of the face. So I leave a little spot white to make it look like it's a reflection. And I'm just going to leave the eyes like that for now. Now the next step is to put the nose on here. So the nose, like we said before, is about halfway between the eyes and the chin. So again, I'm going to use my marker or a pencil to find the halfway point. So halfway between the eyes here and the bottom of the face would be about here. That's where I would put the bottom of my nose. Now the nose that I like to draw is just sort of like a shape of a bowl, the bottom of a bowl. It's like this. And then I put these two little marks on the side like this, little flattened ovals, very small. And the sides of the nose right here. And then I just like to put the two little lines in between the eyes. You can make your nose however you want to. Again, this lesson is more about where we put the features of the face. Okay. And then the last step that we talked about in this picture right here is where the placement of the mouth. So halfway between the bottom of the nose and the chin, I'm going to put my line there. That would be the bottom of the lips that go there. Okay. I just drew a line here. You could certainly add more details if you'd like to. It's up to you how you want to make it look. Now, I know you're thinking this looks really strange right now, but trust me, it will look much better as we finish up. So one of the first things I'm going to do is add some eyebrows. A lot of times I see students who forget eyebrows. We need those there. They're kind of close to the eyes here. Okay, I'm also going to give it some eyelids up here. Now that's something that not everybody has. So if you're drawing yourself, take a look in the mirror and see if you can actually see that part. If you can't, then leave them off. And let's see, the ears. We said they go from about the top of the eyes here to the bottom of the nose. And remember we said they don't stick really far out. They actually stay kind of close to the face. So I'm going to do the same thing on both sides. Good, it's in line with the bottom of the nose there. Now the next step in this process is going to be drawing the hair. Now the next step in this process is actually going to be drawing the neck and the shoulders. If you look at these two pictures, I drew very different necks and shoulders. A lot of times I see people draw these really skinny necks and these really tiny bodies. I don't think I've ever met a person in my life who had a head that was wider than their body. So we have to focus on how we make it look more realistic. So if you look at the neck on this one, it's a little bit thinner than the head, but not too skinny. So it's wider even than the mouth that I made here. It comes down. And the shoulders don't come out like rectangles or very angular to the side. They actually slope downward. And if you don't believe me, take a look at yourself in the mirror and relax your shoulders. You'll see that your shoulders also slope downward. So let's take a look at how we can draw the neck and the shoulders on this figure right here. If I want to make the neck here, then I'm actually going to try to find a middle point between the bottom of the chin and the ears. So about halfway between the two on this line, on his little chin line here, would be about here. I'm just going to draw a straight line going down, and I would do the same thing on this side. About halfway between would be right about here, and I'm just going to draw a straight line going down. Then, like I said before, the shoulders are actually sloped. You can't really see it in this picture much, but they do slope downward and come out to the side. You can't see too much. You can just give them a little t-shirt here. All right, and the last thing that we're gonna add here is the hair. Now our person here looks really strange without hair, but they'll look a lot more realistic once we add the hair. Again, a lot of times what I see people do is they just put hair on the top of the head and they draw these straight lines coming out, but nobody's hair actually sticks out like that. So what we're gonna do is we are going to show how the hair lays on top of the head and show also how it comes in and it goes all the way to where the neck is. Oh. If we look at this picture here again, you don't see any space here. There's no hair that's sticking straight out. It actually goes from the side here and fills that whole space there. So let's see how we can translate that to our other picture. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with a part line. You can't see it too much here, but that's where I part my hair. And I'm going to do the same thing here just so you guys can see it. My part line is just going to show how one part of my hair goes one way, the other part goes the other way. So I'm going to put this across the forehead and down to the ears. And then hair isn't flat against your head. It actually comes up a little bit on top of your head. It lays on top. And then it's going to come down like this. And then right here on this side, I'm going to do the other side of the part. So we don't have hair right there because, again, our hair is sort of going two different directions there. And then again, it needs to go on top of your head there and then come down to the ears here. Maybe this one's going behind the ears. And then I want to fill in that whole space. So maybe this one's even blocking the ears here. See, now that we've added hair, it really brings our picture to life here. It looks much more realistic. Of course, if you have different hair than this, then it's going to look a little bit different. So I challenge you to look in the mirror and see how your hair actually looks when you're trying to draw it. Also, I want to challenge you to practice drawing faces. Practice just putting the features of the face, again, the eyes, the nose, the mouth, the ears, in the right spot, and you'll see how much better your pictures become.